Welcome to Dropping Diamonds with me, AJ Andrews, where we dive headfirst into the world of softball. Today, I'm extra glam, extra fab. I'm a star. And if you're just listening, it's because I have an actual star on my face. But I have been blessed by someone who is an All-American out of FSU. She's an AUSL Volts catcher, and also she's about to make this her brand, Makeup by Michaela, because I look so fab. Michaela Edenfield, thank you for joining me.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And the glam, fire, right? The gold. I love it. She's a gold gal.
I'm a gold gal. I told her I feel like a phoenix, like the one from Harry Potter. Because I have like oranges and, reds.
Right.
But gold too.
Except you're not going to burn up.
No.
We're not going to do that.
No. Well, when I was doing it, it was burning a little bit. But then you came in and you helped me rise from the ashes. We love a good metaphor. we love it. Well, Michaela, to start a podcast, I love to start with a quote, an affirmation, because as athletes, it can get hard and we have to continue to motivate ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so for this one, talking to you and just knowing how hard you work, I thought a great quote would be, the hardest challenge is to be yourself in a world where everyone is trying to make you something else. Mm. And so affirmation, I came from this, I put a little bit from Dr. Seuss, but look into the mirror and we'll say, I love myself in all that I am and can be, for there's no one on earth more mere than me.
Yeah, that's good.
There's nobody. Nobody is more you than you. And that is our superpower. Do you have a quote or affirmation that you really feel like you live by?
There's been a couple things, like, of course, as an athlete at Florida State, we took our mental health, in talks very seriously. And we always had this cheat sheet of random quotes and whatnot of things that stuck out to many people that we've worked through the mental performance area. And one that I put on my glove the past couple years was E plus R equals O. And it's event plus response equals your supposed outcome. And the only thing you can control is the response. And so for me, within wanting to be myself and make sure that I'm giving myself the best value of life, is understanding that the event is what it is, right? And it's on me to control my response. And I think that's the big thing as a catcher. I'm always feeding off of my pitcher. It's what can I do for my pitcher? What can I do for my defense? What can I do this, blah, 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 right? And with that, I'm just making sure I can kind of do a balancing act. So I go in, if my pitcher's a super hothead, I want to be cool and calm and collected, that's my response to her and her attitude. But also bad call, whatever it is, me getting angry is not going to do anything about it. And I think as athletes, we can get wound up on the negatives of the game, and kind of controlling that response, will make it a little bit more of a positive outcome, hopefully. And then on top of that, you're going to be a little less angry at the end of the day. And I think we go through so many different emotions. So
knowing that the only thing you can control from the event, E plus R equals O, is your response. I think that's really important, because oftentimes we try to control the outcome, to your point, especially as pitchers. And you're someone, for being a catcher, you have to go and help people control their responses. Yeah. How do you do that when you step onto the mound and you're trying to console a pitcher or trying to help them through a situation? Do you have a method of attack, or does it change depending on the situation?
It changes according to the pitcher. You know, I think I always joke around and say it's speed dating, 7 to 8 people, especially in college when you got a whole full staff. You got to get to know them pretty good. What is their favorite food? What can get them out of a really weird spot, right? Are they going through an emotional time right now, personally, outside of softball? And how is that going to weigh into their performance? And for me, it's making sure I know all of those things off the field. So on the field, I can apply it and make sure I'm directing the conversation how it needs to be. But at the end of the day, you have to have a realness whenever you talk to a teammate, regardless of pitcher, catcher, infield, outfield, you got to be real with the situation. Did she just throw one right over the middle of the plate? Yeah. And that's going to happen. And I think now with understanding the personalities of the pitcher is like how you go about saying that. Like, that was a bit plated there. Next time, like, let's work a little bit more off here. Hey, you were ahead 0-2 in that count. Like, I'll set up a little bit more outside. Let's just make sure we start to expand better, you know? So it's not, oh, like you messed up.
Right.
It's how can we go on from this? And so that's the big thing there, and having to kind of direct the conversation. And we can laugh, like it happens, you know, you got people that are like big time sluggers, and you make them, you make a little misstep, a little mistake, and you leave one over the middle of the plate. And when they smack it, you're like, well, yeah,
that's what I get. Yeah.
It humbles you a little bit, but at the same time, like you can tip your hat off like to some people, because I've seen people like hit balls that are like so inside and so close to their shin, and I'm like, I don't even know how that happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, girlfriend, like, don't look at me, but like, hey, I don't even know how that happened. So it's like, how can we be about the next pitch?
What is probably the craziest or funniest time or thing that you had to say to get a pitcher out of her mood? Or like your favorite mound, I'm calling it mission. Your favorite mound mission. What did that look like?
Oh my gosh. There's a handful, because I've worked with a bunch of like different personalities, and Kat Sandercock, me and her had a really special relationship. So there's times that like things could be like really funny because we had that type of relationship off the field. But I would say Danielle Watson, she is like big fiery flame, like love her. She just recently got married. Congrats to her. But it's just like, I remember specifically, I went up to her and she was like, I'm not doing that again. I was like, oh, okay, period.
Yeah.
Like, it was very like, a sentence ender, got it. What can I do?
Yeah.
You know, and at times like that, like I felt super intimidated. So for me, that's funny. Whenever I feel like intimidated by the pitcher, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, okay, got it.
Do it again.
But I will say there's been plenty of times where I've just like looked at my pitcher and I'd be like, dude, you're overthinking it. Look at me right now. Like, you're a boss right now. Like, you're her. You're her. I don't know anyone else that looks as good in the uniform like you do. Oh. Like, you know, like we just like, you know,
you gotta hype it up.
A little sassy comment here and there, just like to break the surface and understand that like at the end of the day, we're human. Like, we're playing the sport. Like, it happens, things will happen. But if you're so focused on the negative piece of the pitches prior to the moment, like, again, just like a little check. I usually like to make a little joke or two, depending on the person, of course. But like, hey girl, a hot dog sounds so good right now. Like, listen, all we got to do is get through this inning, score a couple runs, and then it's me and you poolside tomorrow.
Done.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's done.
Get through it.
You know? Just get through it. Yeah. So just, just kind of like having those fun conversations.
When you are catching, do you call the pitches?
Here in AUSL, yes.
Yeah.
So, and FSU, I did occasionally would call. Now, Coach would always lay down first all. We would always say we're laying down like a menu, you know, and it's up to the pitcher to decide. And that's a bit of the ownership on the flip end of the pitcher and responsibility of knowing what she would want to throw as well. But I think, especially at Florida State, some of my favorite pitchers to work with are the more analytical ones, the ones that definitely know what they want to throw, the ones that would shake off because they have that feel. There's just a certain feel. It's like a third eye almost that it's that instinct to me is whenever she shakes, I put down the next pitch. And usually I'm pretty online with what the pitcher is wanting at that point. And Jazzy Forensic and Kat Sandercock were probably the two pitchers I had like that at Florida State. So
do you feel like when you are calling the pitchers and you kind of get that intuition, if you call the next one, is it based off of, do you have your own intuition or is it solely based off what you think the pitcher feels comfortable with?
It's a mix, right? Of course, I want to play to my pitcher's strengths, but I mean, I'm right there.
You see the battle.
I see the batter. I've studied swings. I've coached hitting. I'm a hitter myself. So I understand a little bit, especially if it's more of a wiser hitter. Oh, she might be expecting this. So I think if we lead off with here, then we could go with this pitch next. So you always want to be 2 pitches ahead of the system. And then if you just get the out on the one pitch and you're like, well, that was nice. Yeah. Right? You can go do whatever. But I always try to think 2 pitches ahead.
Here at AUSL, I imagine it gets a little bit harder to maintain staying 2 pitches ahead of these elite players. It's your rookie season. You got the AUSL golden ticket at FSU. When you did receive the ticket, you got emotional and you were really excited. What was going through your mind when you realized you were about to be a pro?
Honestly, I mean, the whole situation was a really cool event because we didn't have senior day due to the tragic shooting on campus. So our games against Georgia Tech got canceled. And so the whole event that happened was a makeup for a senior day for us. So it was like a little fun, like everyone, there was like a home run derby piece, like it was Race the Ross, like it was all like based events around the seniors and like our strengths. So it was super cool just to have that and like have our fans come out just to see that. No game, no nothing, just to see the seniors and celebrate us. And I always think like adversity brings community together. And like that was a moment to see that. And it was just super exciting. And I remember like seeing the AUSL ad like going on our big screen. I'm like, that's interesting. I was like, that's interesting. And like, I wasn't thinking too much about it. And then the next thing I know, I see, oh my gosh, I see Jen like go on our field and I'm like, what is Jen Schroeder? What are you doing here? And I see like the golden ticket and then everyone's like kind of like looking around and I'm like, who could it be? I didn't even think of myself. I did not like, everyone's like, oh, like you knew, didn't you? No, I did not. I did not. Like I looked around, I was like, I did put like a little filler saying that I would like to play pro softball, but like that doesn't guarantee anything.
Right.
And to the point that I was looking around for Janai and I was like, because she's that girl too, you know, I've played at Florida State for 5 years. I've been a part of amazing teams and amazing athletes. And like, I know any of them are like well-deserving of the chance to be able to play pro. And I remember when my name was called, like I was just in shock. And within all of that, like I was grateful. I had my team, like I had my aunt there. She surprised me. She said originally that she wasn't going to be able to go. And then she, you know, I think Coach had told her that I was getting drafted. So that ended up happening. So apparently they had known this for weeks and I didn't. And so it was a really good surprise. And I got really, really emotional because I know one person that like would have loved to have been there was my grandpa. And me and my aunt share a super close relationship. Understanding that we might have been his favorites. Yeah. And I think like me and her have that like special Seminole softball love because she also played for FSU from 97 to 2001. And I just think having that moment with everyone that I love, like being there was just super, super special. And I just wouldn't have imagined like little me didn't even know she was going to make it out of Sneads, Florida. I mean, little me was bullied, could have been completely polar opposite story. You know, if I didn't have sports, the community and everything, like, I don't think I'd be the person I am today. So like all of that was kind of hitting me at once and just like being so grateful to be in the uniform that I was and just given the opportunities that come my way.
And realizing you made it. You did it. You did it. Yeah. And I hope you know your grandfather was there with you in those moments. It's probably why you felt so emotional to feel all the love that you had. And then you're here, you step onto the field in Chicago for AUSL, for the Volts. And how do you feel like the transition? How do you feel it's different from college?
Oh, gosh. I mean, first day in, I'm like, okay, like I know some of these girls through college, like it'll be fine. Don't freak out, Michaela. Like it's fine. Like if they drafted you for a reason. So like if it doesn't work out, it's on their behalf, like not yours. Like I was really trying to like pump myself up and it's like, it's humbling, you know, like we joke around and say like you go from high school to college and you're like the biggest fish in your pond and then you go into the lake and you're no longer the big fish anymore. And essentially like it's the same thing over again. Like you're no longer the big fish. And I like really took a step back understanding that I am going to be playing with Olympians, like all Americans, National Player of the Years. Like when I found out I got drafted to the Volts, I was like, so does that mean I get to catch Rachel Garcia? Like, what? What? And it's just like a really surreal moment because I would have never imagined, for one, that I was going to be able to play pro softball, but for two, like to play with these girls that have done so much for the sport. I mean, to have Kat Oshman as my GM, like insane. For her to throw me BP on day 3 here, I was like, what is life? I called my aunt, what is life? Like, I don't know. And she reminded me, like, she was like, no, like, Kat is awesome. Kat is cool. Like, not taking that away, but like, she's also throwing to you. Like, and that really flipped my perspective there for a bit. That like, yes, like taking the gratitude and gratefulness part, like very, very seriously, but also understanding that I have a role here. So
you have a role, you have a purpose. You're the only catcher to be drafted. You are that girl. You're here and you're doing it. And you talked about a little bit earlier how sports has really changed your life, and you experienced some bullying when you were younger. And I remember you quoted and you said that it took you a while to transform the different into me. And like being different and embracing that and realizing there's nobody meer than me. There's nobody youer than you. When you did embrace that, what did that look like? How were you able to finally step into Michaela?
It's super tough when my small town, like getting bullied, like it was constantly in the back of my head, like how could I fit in? How could I look normal? What is everyone else wearing that like I could potentially wear? Like how could I make my hair like less of like what it is? Do I straighten it? Like what do I need to do to make myself blend in to everyone else that is around me? And for a while there, like, yeah, you go through those phases of like wanting to like just fit in. But eventually I realized that like this was just never going to happen. And sports kind of gave me the avenue of like realizing that, you know, being like one of the few that are really good, like has that like certain edge, that feeling. And within sport, within volleyball and softball specifically, like I was able to create that edge of where it felt like I was the truest form of me at that time of my life. And having that feel in sport, I was like, well, how can I do that like in my personal life? Like, how can I be that in my personal life? So I say sports quite literally changed me because I probably wouldn't have known or taken the step to like want to be that way on both ends of the stick in life, that is. But I definitely think like going from there, the confidence, the feel, the ego, like just everything that happened from sport, I had to break down and realize that like I can be that. I am that. And I was around a bunch of strong young females over at Sneads High School, especially the volleyball team. And Sheila Roberts, I credit that woman a lot of things, and probably the reason why I ended up going D1, even though it wasn't in volleyball, I went softball. She taught me a lot of life lessons and discipline and how to apply that to everything. And I'm very grateful for that. And within all of that, embracing the unique piece. When I started to do that, like it was doing the makeup. If you ask Jesse Whorton, literally, I used to do like makeup looks to camps. Me and my mom called it was like my war paint. So I was like very serious about that, and I like loved it. And I started to realize that, you know what, like if I have a couple other people that I know that like the things that I like, that's really all that matters. If the people that I hold closest to me still like me at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
I think it's so interesting when you talked about how even with your hair, you tried to find ways and who you are as a person to be less. And I think that what is it from, it's a cartoon. Maybe it's the one with the cat, the Cheshire Cat, Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, I think his quote is, "You've lost your muchness. You used to be much, muchier." And I think that is such an important, because you talk about trying to be less, but in order for you to be where you are today, you had to be more. You had to be better. And through that, you used makeup. You talk about using makeup as a crutch and watching RuPaul's Drag Race. And when do you really find your identity or find your love for makeup? How did you allow that to continue to also propel you forward in your confidence?
Yeah, it's funny because like, you know, a couple a couple of videos, right, is all it takes is to get hooked onto something these days. TikTok, like, it's easy platform. You find a funny video, haha, and then you think the person that makes the videos make more other funny videos, and you're like, okay, cool. Like, I want to follow, I want to keep up because I like those laughs, right? For me, it was the makeup and like the artistry, but also the confidence that those people had, especially RuPaul. Like, they walk around like they own the world. And like, I like as 10, 11, 12-year-old me, like, I didn't know what that was like. I was scared of the world. And to see like someone else embody that and understand how different they are, all the facets of scrutiny that people that, you know, do Drag Race, that go on RuPaul, like, go under, and they don't care. And for something about that really just stuck with me. And I enjoyed watching the art piece. I come from a very creative family. My grandma owned a quilt shop at some point in time. I used to paint. I did piano lessons because someone thought I wasn't going to be an athlete. So like I came from that kind of background, and into just like loving the show and the personalities and seeing them just be like 100% dumb at all times and like don't care. And I wanted that. And the makeup piece I had fun with. I would start to do like little fun looks and people would be like, oh, that's cool. Like, I'll be like, oh, nice. And I like fed into the makeup was my crutch because people thought it was either like cool at that moment in time, or it's because like it was the trend. Everyone knows the 2016 era of the brow dip and I mean the massive eyebrows, the massive eyeliner. It was very like in trend, okay, at that point in time. I may have a couple pictures of me back then where my like eyeliner and eyebrows were like this close together.
We have to pull those up.
No. Yeah. They are buried along with the Nike headband face.
That was a elite phase. Yeah, we all went through it.
And so like all of that, like I was trying to fit in into like what was cool in that like moment in time. And like growing up again from like a Southern Belle area as well, like you have to look a certain way. You have to do your makeup. You have to wear a dress to go to church. Like you have to present yourself in a certain way all the time. And within all of that, like I started to realize that like, am I doing this for me or am I doing this again to fit in? And that probably clicked my senior year of high school. And then of course COVID hit. So a lot of things changed in that piece, and be able to have a little bit of identity crisis through my freshman year of college with COVID. My grandpa passed the summer before I got in, and just like within all of that, I started to realize, what am I really doing to make myself happy? And like, what am I doing to make others happy? Don't get me wrong. I'm a big people person. I love to like do things to make other people happy. But at the end of the day, like I'm the one going to sleep with myself. And if I can't go to sleep at peace, knowing that like I'm happy with my life, then I need to change something.
And makeup is what brings you.
It's fun. Like, it makes me happy. Yeah. And I started to realize like, no, I'm doing the cool looks for me because I like how it looks. Now other people can think it's cool and like can want to match and do stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, like I can be like, no, I did that. Like I show up to the ball field knowing that like more people are interested on what's on my eyes versus how I did. Respectfully. And respectfully, and if that's what I'm known for, and like people know me as a person and they're super excited to get to talk to me and like know me, like that means more to me than, you know, being 3 for 3 sometimes, you know? We like both the best of both.
Yeah, but yeah, 3 for 3, and you love my eye. Yeah. And love my eye makeup, please.
Right.
Well, I also love your eye makeup so much. So star. Sorry, I'm just pointing out the star. What would you say is your favorite look, other than mine, obviously, my Phoenix look?
I would say I did a flame look yesterday. That was a little different. I did it in Volts colors, which was different for me. I've been like doing a bunch of like team-oriented colors. Like a bunch of green is like, a bunch of green and purple as of late. I need to change it up. But I like doing like movie-related looks. I did a Willy Wonka look on draft day, and I had like the golden ticket, and I put AUSL. I put 12 out of 12 because I was the last ticket. Like, I like stuff that can kind of hint on to like real things. And that's like where the makeup as a message starts to like really click. And that's where I feel like I'm doing it much more than, oh, it's a cool look or it's pretty or it's makeup. Like, no, like this has a message. Like it has AUSL. It was a golden ticket. Like it has something to portray to the audience. So like I also did like, for Juneteenth, I had the fist, like enough said, you know, like making sure that, again, like it's more than makeup to me, like makeup as a message. And I think it's really fun to be able to use that medium, you know, to like portray people like on things that matter to me the most.
And be able to see it through, because you're wearing a helmet. So it's sometimes hard to see your face, but then you have the eye makeup on. It's like, oh, I see that. I see that flame. I see that star. She's making it look good, but let's not get confused. You also have the Florida State history maker for 54 home runs, career home runs. You're third. So you're also, people know that you for your hitting, not just for your makeup looks. You are doing the thing. You talk about what you've been able to achieve at FSU and being able to be coached by Coach Alameda. She's someone that anybody I've talked to that went to FSU, you all are just so inspired and have nothing but the most amazing words. What was the culture like at FSU and how has it impacted you as a player in person?
I remember the reason why I committed to Florida State, it was because family was felt, not told. I think, you know, going on a lot of recruits as a high schooler, like everyone says, oh, we're a family. Oh, we're a family. And then you look at two girls that like are on the team and they like give an eye roll to one another. And you're like, oh, well, like, what am I supposed to do? Right. And I think just being there, family truly was felt. I had a Sergeant Bear mom, which is what Coach dressed up as for a Halloween, because she gives like bear hugs, but she's like, you know, she gives, you know, a little bit of the both end of the stick, like devil's advocate of how to go about things. So I got that, and then I got two funny uncles and an analytical aunt. And I think the coaching staff and the dynamic that they have just works so effortlessly. Don't get me wrong, like everyone's going to have like a rough day every now and then, but at the end of the day, like there's an open door policy. And I have bawled like a little baby in Coach's arms. And like, I want you to imagine like the height difference. And then I'm just kind of like crouched down, but she has quite literally been there during my darkest moments. My grandpa was my father figure, quite literally the closest person I had growing up. And he meant the world to me. And when I lost him the summer before I got into college, I didn't think I was ever going to be the same. And for Coacha and the coaching staff to like constantly like, you know, kind of press my buttons just to make sure like I'm still there, like trying to figure that dynamic out. Truly meant a lot, because I think some other places would have probably given up on me. And at a certain point in time, I was giving up on myself because I didn't even think I belonged at Florida State, you know? So there's a lot of things within all of that, and the family aspect of being at Florida State just means more, because you just don't find coaches, you don't find many head coaches like Coacha that's just so genuine. Like quite literally, she's the best human being I've ever met. Hands down.
And I think life is so serendipitous in the way that you are now there for her in one of her darkest moments as she's going through breast cancer and going through different treatments. And you told me earlier that she was coaching while going through chemo and radiation. And those that have had family members that have experienced both, we know what it's like watching someone go through chemo and radiation. They are so sick and so weak. And to see her still show up for you guys every single day and you be there for her. And you were also one of the individuals that shaved her head as well. Can you talk to me about the moments that you've been able to share with her and how she's been a pillar shift for you and you being a pillar shift for her?
Yeah, I mean, truly, there's not a good way to describe the feeling. Like I said, she's been there for me on my like darkest days, and to be there for her, is in its own way like a very good feeling. Like I'm glad I can be here for her in this moment. I'm grateful that this is happening in my 5th and final year at Florida State because I get to be with her. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, right? And to see someone so strong take it head on is, again, inspiring because when she told us when we had the team meeting, she had said it. Thank you so much for the compliments on my bob. There's actually a reason why I cut my hair. And, she kind of, dropped the bomb on us. She's got breast cancer and a bunch of the girls immediately we're all very emotional because a lot of people have lost people to breast cancer and have gone through many other facets of understanding that it's a very serious thing. And I wouldn't wish this upon my enemy, yet along one of the best human beings I've ever met. And with Coach just being up there and kind of crying, kind of telling us, she was still telling us to make sure we do our checkups. She was making it a life lesson for us while we're bawling our eyes out. And I think that just shows in volumes the type of person she is. Because at the end of the day, she could be having breast cancer and she would still put us first to tell us to this is what you need to do and how you do it. And being vulnerable. I used to think being vulnerable was the most horrible thing ever. You should never show people your weaknesses because that's just gonna, at the end of the day, gonna come back to bite you. And she showed me that vulnerability is strength. And for her to be vulnerable for not only us, but the world and just letting us be there in those raw moments and shaving her head, that really clicked for me. And I'm grateful for all the moments. And a lot of people ask me that's a really unfortunate thing to happen in your last year at Florida State. That's not unfortunate. I'm very grateful to, number one, of course, be there for Coach, but number two, you learn certain aspects about life firsthand. And I think that just, again, made a couple things click about how simple life can be and how you should never take people or things for granted. And tell your loved ones that you love them, because you're never guaranteed tomorrow. And so that was another thing that clicked for me. That I'm very grateful that I had experienced. Yes, I was sad, emotional, but it's a good thing to face right before you go off into the real world after college.
What do you feel is the biggest lesson that Coach has taught you, whether it be on and off the field?
Yeah, vulnerability, 100%. Vulnerability as a strength and to be able to share your story. She's made me realize that my story is a pretty inspiring story, coming from the area that I lived in and small town. I think I graduated with 94 individuals and it was a public school. So a very, very small
94
town.
individuals in one class. Where
Yeah, I think my high school is 400 people, maybe.
Total.
Yeah, with staff maybe 415.
Yeah.
Very small area. And to be the girl out of the backyard of Tallahassee, going to play Division I ball and then getting the opportunity to be myself and create this branding of Area 51 and the makeup and showing people who I really am, even though I play ball, this is everything else I can do. And this is the reason why you should follow me, keep up with me, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all bring something to the sport, but it's also on the flip side, we bring something to life. And that's something that I'm very grateful for, that she's taught me that I am my own inspirational story. And I should be very grateful for yes, understand where I came from, in the low points I feel today. Can't tell you yesterday, I've been super emotional as of late because tomorrow is going to be 5 years officially that my grandpa's passed. Mm-hmm. And so I've been going through a lot and thinking about everything, right? I can be super sad about everything I'm going on right now, or I can see everything that I have faced adversity-wise and continue to face and just be so inspired at the fact I'm still going on. And that makes me continue to want to go on.
Diamond was just dropped, by the way. I am my own inspirational story.
Yeah.
I think that is so powerful to say, because when you look at the things that you go through in life, whether it's on the field, off the field, you're just building your story and you're building your own inspiration. So you can look back and say, wow, I really made it through so much.
Yeah.
I really did a lot. Your grandfather has obviously had a huge impact on you. When you think about him and what he has done for you and the person you are today, what's one thing you believe he would say to you if he was sitting across from you after watching your inspirational story come to life?
He probably knew. It was a little quote. I forgot exactly where it's from, but it's like, if you shoot for the stars, you might land on the moon. And I know for a fact I can like hear him every now and then in the back of my head of what to do and what not to do. But I know for a fact that he would just say that he's proud. And there's not much else I can really ask for. And in those tough moments, me and my aunt like share that super close relationship because of Pa and everything that we've gone through. But I know for a fact he would probably say that neon green and purple are interesting team colors to have. But I managed to pull it off.
And you make it look great. You like make it look amazing.
And the makeup piece, he would probably be very surprised on where it's ended up, but he would be proud that I've owned it and every bit of it. And then he would probably ask me, where's the next Starbucks cup that we can get together?
Love that.
So a little bit of everything, but I know for a fact he would be proud. And at the end of the day, I can sleep really well knowing that.
Your father proud of who you are off the field, but also on, and the amazing plays that you have been able to make behind the plate. Whether you're diving, whether you're blocking, whether you are letting the pitcher know, okay, yes, we don't have to throw that pitch again. When it comes to turning the field into a no-fly zone, my favorite, what's your favorite play you've ever made, and what do you think it takes to make an elite catcher?
I made on SportsCenter this year.
Period.
Yeah, like that was a bucket list for me. I've always wanted to be on SportsCenter, and I always pride myself of being a pretty agile catcher. So I would say like foul tips like are tough, because if you can just one, that one pitch means a lot, because it's like at the end of the game, right? It's like quick reaction, and then those are like pretty short pop-ups sometimes, and that one specifically, like I about got into the wall on that. I was like, dang.
Pat yourself on a bet.
I was like, the volleyball skills are coming in handy right now. I mean, full dive, full out moment. And I caught it. I was like, dang. I don't know how many people on my team could do that. I'm just kidding. No,
but she's not.
But no, it's that was a really cool moment. That was probably one of my best plays defensively at Florida State. Of course, like I have a pretty good arm, so throwing people out is always fun, especially like the faster the better. It feels like a badge. Like if I was like a Boy Scout, like I would have like that person's name on a little ribbon.
Wait, that'd be so funny to do. Anytime you make a great play on someone.
Hey, I throw someone out that's like known for their wheels. Yeah, like Kendra Falby, Skylar Wallace, like the UF rivalry. Yeah, I throw you out. Just know that I thought about it a little bit, and you make me more confident. XOXO.
Last question, because I know we're running out of time, unfortunately. But what would you say is your favorite failure that has ultimately led to your biggest successes?
My biggest failure?
Your favorite failure.
My favorite failure. Not my biggest failure.
Yeah.
That's right. Clock that.
Wording is important.
My favorite failure was probably redshirt year, right? I wouldn't consider that a failure. I knew I was going to redshirt before I got into college. Like I knew that was going to happen in high school. So if I had to say, probably like all through, I couldn't practice with the first fall of my redshirt year. I couldn't practice with the team because I got COVID. And I feel like that moment, I understand it's not necessarily softball related, but it did cause me to have an identity crisis with softball because I couldn't practice at Florida State at a place where I didn't feel like I already belonged again, right? and I couldn't practice, couldn't work out with them. And all through 3-4 months of fall, I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I'm literally just a glorified manager. I'm exactly what everyone in my hometown thinks I was going to do. I'm just going to be like on the bench and then no one's going to know about me. Like, that's what I was feeding myself. And to be able to flip that and really own the bullpen catcher and how can I make up for lost time that I didn't have in the fall due to COVID and all the screening that you have to go through to be cleared at that point in time, to spring, being able to practice and work out with them. I was like, every little bit I could potentially get in, I was there. I was asking questions. It was, how could I be smarter about the game? How can I be more involved with anything, anything? Spin, flips, hey, no, don't throw to the net, throw to me. I need that. And I feel like that could be seen as a failure piece. I know it's a little the event wasn't, caused by me, but that really set an identity crisis. And I had to work through that my first year of college. So I'm grateful for that moment.
And then, but because of all that training, that really prepared you for your moment when you were able to step up and start the E plus R equals O. Michaela, thank you so much for dropping your diamonds, letting us all know and remember to be our own inspirational story.
Yes.
And that go out and control our responses to ultimately get the outcomes that we are hoping for.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
I'll see you guys next week back on the diamond. Thanks, Michaela.
Thank you.